In today's topic, we are going to study about the vectors. In this vectors, we are going to study about the product of the vectors. I'm going to multiply the vectors. See, whenever I know all the operations, that is the addition, the subtraction, and the multiplication that can be done in vectors. See, whenever we add two vectors or we subtract two vectors, in both the cases, what happens is whenever we add two vectors, they should be of the same type. I can add vectors if they have the same units. That means I can add force to force. I can add displacement to displacement. I can add electrical field to electrical field, but I cannot add electrical field to the magnetic field. I cannot add displacement to velocity or velocity to acceleration. See, whenever I add or subtract two physical quantities, they should have the same unit. They should be of the same type. But if you have to multiply these two vectors, the two vectors, the components of the two, that is not the components I'm saying, the two vectors which are to be multiplied, they can have different physical units, right? Suppose I want to find out the force. We all know in physics, F, that is the charge, force which is acting on a charged particle when kept in a magnetic field. F is equal to Q into V cross B. V is a vector and B is a vector. V is velocity and B is the magnetic field. Both are two different vector quantities, right? So when we have got these two different vector quantities, we can multiply. But whenever I talk about the two vectors which is to be multiplied, I have to be sure that I need to find out a point where both the vectors are acting at the same point. Or we should consider in the space in such a way that both the vectors are acting at the same point. Second important fact is that whenever I consider both the vectors should point out in such a way that they should be either they will be coming out of this point O or they will be either entering this point O. That means they should be either going out or coming in. Is it clear? Now the angle, how do I take the angles? Right, whenever I take the angles between the vectors, mark it for sure that this is the vector. This is the vector A and this is the vector B. Both should be in this way. This should be angle. But if you have got a vector A like this and another vector which is pointing towards here, you will not consider this angle. But which angle is to be considered? I need to extend this B vector or the other side. This is vector B. So I'll draw another vector which is also vector B by extending it from the point O. And now I have got both the vectors which are pointing outside. And here I have got the angle not as theta, but the angle between the vector, it is equal to how much? It is 180 minus theta. So you should always remember that whenever you consider the vectors, you should always put it in such a way that both the vectors are either diverging from a given point or they are converging at a given point. Otherwise, you take the angle which is supplementary to it. Is it clear? Okay, now whenever I have got the product of the vectors, I need to find out how the vector is to be multiplied. This can be done either in the scalar product of the vectors or you can have the vector products. Now, what do you understand by the scalar product? The scalar product of the vector means I have got vector A multiplied by vector V and there is a dot between them. So what is the meaning of this dot product or the scalar product? A dot B is equal to modulus of A into modulus of B multiplied by cos of theta between them. This is cos theta between them, right? And whatever is the answer, suppose the answer is C. See, A is a vector, B is also a vector, but see, the product what you get, that will be a scalar quantity. You will get the answer which is as a scalar quantity. Is this clear? Okay. Now the scalar quantity, whenever you have got, so how do we write it? For the example I'm taking, suppose you want to find out the work done. What is the formula for the work done? Work done, I know it is equal to F dot S. Now, if you want to find out the work done, you will have to write the modulus of F multiplied by modulus of the displacement multiplied by the value of the cos theta between them, right? So this is called as the scalar product. Is this clear? Right. Now, there is a very important thing which I need to tell you about the scalar product. I'm rubbing out this vector product as of now. Vector product, the answer is also a vector. We'll study about it later. Now, this is one of the examples, work done. Electrical flux you have studied, magnetic flux you have studied. All these are examples of the scalar product. Right? Once you have understood the scalar product, what exactly it is, now let me go back to and find out, suppose I've got a vector, this is A. I'm multiplying this with another vector, which is parallel to this A or maybe a collinear vector. In that case, what is the angle between them? Here the angle is equal to how much? That is equal to 0 degrees. Suppose this is equal to, another vector says that is equal to K times of A. Now, if you want to multiply this K, A dot, K times of A, what is the answer you'll get? You'll say K is taken out common and it is A dot A. So what is the answer? A ka modulus, A ka modulus, into kitna aa jayega? Cos 0. So it is equal to K times of A square. This is one way I've explained because this will be used in the problems. But if you talk about the properties of the vectors, if you have got, suppose A dot A, that will be equal to A ka square, that is only the modulus ka square, right? And I'll put it this way, that is better. So A dot A is always equal to how much? Modulus of A ka square. Is it clear? Right. And what will happen? Suppose you have got one vector A, this is the first one. And if I have got the second one, if you have got one vector A and there is another vector say B and the angle between them that is equal to 90 degrees. In that case, what will be the product? If it is A dot B, in this case, if theta it is equal to 90 degrees, we know that it is equal to modulus of A into modulus of B into kya ho jayega? Cos 90. So the answer will be equal to 0. Here, there's a special case which is we can say that here A ka modulus is not equal to 0 and modulus of B is also not equal to 0, but the dot product between them is equal to 0. This is possible when you have got two vectors which are perpendicular to each other. If two vectors are perpendicular to each other, the dot product between them is always equal to 0. Then we come to the properties of the scalar product. Whenever I talk about the scalar product key properties, the first property is, I've already written it, you know that A dot K times of B, that is equal to K times of A dot B. Right? If it is multiplied, one of the vector is multiplied by a scalar, you would bring out the scalar outside and then just multiply the dot product of these two vectors. Another is, like suppose you have got A dot B, I can also write this as B dot A, and this is commutative property. This is the commutative property. It follows the law of commutative property of the multiplication. That means A dot B is always equal to B dot A. But there is a catch out here. This is the one which is asked in some competitive examinations. I can say, let me go back and just ask you this question. Now the question out here is, What is A dot B dot C? What is A dot B dot C? So let me take A dot B first. What is the answer? Suppose that is equal to D. And dot product with what? C. Arey bhaiya, this is scalar and this is vector. Dot product between a scalar and a vector. Dot product between a scalar and a vector, is it possible? No. This will become meaningless. This does not have any meaning. कभी भी हो नहीं सकता. मतलब A dot B dot C नहीं हो सकता. Why? Because A dot B को तुम करोगे ना, A dot B तुम करोगे तो वो क्या मिल गया? स्केलर मिल गया. अब स्केलर के साथ तुमने डॉट प्रोडक्ट निकालनी है, उसका कोई मतलब थोड़ी निकलता है. डॉट प्रोडक्ट किस किस के बीच में निकलेगा? दो वेक्टर्स के बीच में निकलेगा. दो नॉन वेक्टर्स के, एक नॉन वेक्टर और एक वेक्टर के बीच में नहीं निकलेगा. Then third वाला, this is called as the distributive property. What is this distributive property? Suppose you have got A dot B plus C. I can write this as A dot B plus A dot C. ये possible आपका हो जाता है. Clear? This is possible. ठीक है. अब आते हैं. What do you have? Suppose if you have got, इतना तक लिख लिया सबने?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you mean by A plus B the whole square? That is equal to vector A plus B dot of vector A plus B. This is the meaning. So when you multiply this, it will get what? A dot A plus B dot A plus A dot B plus you have got B dot B. What is A dot A? A square. What is B dot A? I can also write this as A dot B plus A dot B, because I'm here applying which law? Commutative law. And then I have got B dot B is equal to how much? B square. So what can I write here? I can write this as A square plus B square plus 2 times not AB but A dot B. So this is the meaning of A plus B the whole square. See, whenever I say that A का square, vector A का square, इसका मतलब होता है that is vector A dot A, vector A dot A, this is also equal to modulus of A का square. But लेकिन जब plus में करते हैं तो हमारे पास बीच में एक dot product आपका आता है. Is this clear? Note it down please. And similarly you can apply the same formula for A plus B plus C the whole square. So what will be the value? We all know it is equal to A ka square plus B ka square plus C ka square plus 2 times of A dot B plus A dot C plus C dot A. This is the value, right? So if you want to multiply, you can. But see, हमारा जो class 9 का formula था ना, वो सिर्फ numbers के लिए था, और यहाँ पर हमारे पास क्या है? यहाँ वेक्टर्स है, तो बेटा ध्यान रखना यहाँ पर आपको डॉट प्रोडक्ट्स मिल रहा है. इज दिस क्लियर? यहाँ पर क्या मिला आपका? आपको डॉट प्रोडक्ट्स मिल गया है. इज इट क्लियर? एंड हु इज एब्सेंट नाउ? मयंक के अलावा नहीं, संस्कार है. संस्कार, दया, yeah, and who else? सौरभ लिख रहा है, शुभ लिख रहा है, yeah.
Yes, ma'am. इसको लिख रहा हूँ.
हाँ, चलो जल्दी लिख लो. हो गया? The next one is, suppose if you have written this, we know that if you have got the unit vectors in the x, y, and the z direction, this is x, this is y, and this is Z. Now come on and tell me what you will be having for the unit vector along the X direction. I know it is I, J, and this is K. Now if you have got I dot I dot I, what is I? I is a unit vector. Magnitude is equal to 1. So I dot I is equal to 1. That is also equal to J dot J, and that is also equal to K dot K. And you will have this I dot J, and that is also equal to J dot K, and that is also equal to K dot I, and each will be equal to 0 because the angle between each of this vector, that is equal to 90, and cos 90 we all know that is equal to 0. So I dot J, J dot K, K dot I, each one of them will become equal to how much? That is equal to 0. Is this clear? Right? Okay, so once you have noted this, so now I want to find out how can I use the scalar product to find out the angle between the two vectors. For this, I'll be taking the components of the vectors, that the vectors in the component form. Right? Suppose I have got a vector, and this vector, it is equal to a1 I cap plus a2 j cap plus a3 k cap. Right? And there is another vector, as you know, it is equal to how much? That is equal to b1 I cap plus b2 j cap plus b3 k cap. Now, if you want to find out and write the value of a dot b, what is the value? A1 I cap plus A2 J cap plus A3 K cap, and it is a dot product with another vector, that is B1 I cap plus B2 J cap plus B3 K cap. Now multiply and see what you get. A1 B1. So you will be getting A1 B1 I dot I. I dot I is how much? 1. So, and then you multiply B1 with A2J, that is 0. B1 I cap with A3K, that is also 0. Then you start multiplying B2J with A1I, 0. Then B2J and A2J, that will become what? A2, B2. Then B2J and A3K, that is again 0. B3K with A times I, that is 0. A2J into B3K, that is also 0. And then you have got A3K into B3K, that is equal to A3 B3 K dot K, which is equal to 1. So this is the answer, that is A dot B का value आपको मिल गया है. A1 B1 plus A2 B2 plus A3 B3. Okay. Now all of us know that you are going to find out the angle between the vectors. Whenever we talk about the angle between the vectors, we all know A dot B is equal to modulus of A into modulus of B into क्या आ जाएगा? That is cos theta. So if you want to find out the value of cos theta, that is the angle between them, what is the value? Simply write it as A dot B divided by modulus of A into the modulus of B, or theta, it is equal to cos inverse of A dot B divided by modulus of A into the modulus of B. You can find out the angle between the two vectors. Now, but whenever it is given in the component form, how can you find out? The same thing can be written as cos theta is equal to, what is A dot B? A1 B1 plus A2 B2 plus A3 B3, the whole divided by, we said that it is modulus of A into modulus of B. What is modulus of A? Root over A1 squared plus A2 squared plus A3 ka square multiplied by B1 ka square plus B2 ka square plus B3 ka square. Just get it and we'll get the answer of the angle between the two vectors. Is it clear? Theory part, I suppose it is all clear and you have written it in your notebook also. But there is another important part wherein I have to give you about what do you understand by the projection, the geometrical meaning of the dot product. Okay, so let's do it. geometrical meaning of dot product. Now, whenever I talk about the geometrical meaning of the dot product, suppose I have got a vector out here A, and I have got another vector, say B, and they have got a common point O. If I want the projection of vector B on vector A, मतलब B की परछाई लेनी है कहां पर, वेक्टर A पर, तो इसका मतलब क्या है, B का कंपोनेंट लेना है. अगर मान लो कि मेरे पास एंगल थीटा आता है, तो व्हाट इज द प्रोजेक्शन? प्रोजेक्शन मींस क्या आएगा, परछाई. परछाई कहां पर आएगा, तो बोले ये वाली लेंथ. तो आप बताइए, ये जो लेंथ आपको मिल रहा है O से लेकर के, अगर मैंने A यहाँ ले लिया और ये B ले लिया, so what is this projection? That is equal to OA होगा, और that is equal to क्या आएगा, B का मॉड्यूलस इनटू क्या आएगा, cos थीटा. अभी बोलो कहां से है, अरे ट्रायंगल है, और कैसा ट्रायंगल है, राइट एंगल. तो अगर ये वेक्टर बी है, तो अगर मैंने OB की बात करी और इसका मॉड्यूलस निकाला, तो वो क्या आ जाएगा, वेक्टर बी का मॉड्यूलस आ जाएगा, आएगा ही नहीं. जब मैंने OA का जो लिया, तो इसको मैं ले लेती हूँ x और इसको मैं ले लेती हूँ y. तो आप मुझे बताइए कि what is the value of x divided by modulus of p? तो you will say that is equal to cos theta. So x यानी OA की वैल्यू कितनी आ जाएगी, that is b का मॉडुलस multiplied by cos theta. समझ गया? b का प्रोजेक्शन ऑन A, B का projection on A. Now, if I take the projection, so I'll be taking it in the scalar form. But sometimes, if the question requires that I have to represent it in the vector form, so whose direction should I consider? Whenever I get the projection, whose direction should I consider? I should consider the direction of A. Because I'm projecting B on A, so the magnitude of this projection will be equal to B cos theta, but the direction it will take is that of A. Obviously that. Is this clear? Yes. So this is meaning of the projection. Okay? So the projection can be of any side. It can be taken on the positive side, it can be taken on whichever side you want. See, whenever I have got the projection can be represented this way. I'm taking the vector in the blue. So this is the vector. Suppose this is B and this is the angle theta. I can take the projection where this is the projection. Projection should take the direction in which it is projected. I can take the other way around also. That means the line can make an angle of such a way that it is obtuse भी चलेगा. तो प्रोजेक्शन आपकी किस डायरेक्शन पे लगेगी, तो बताएं मुझे. प्रोजेक्शन तो इस साइड में आएगा, तब इस साइड में प्रोजेक्शन आएगा, इस साइड में आया, यहाँ पर प्रोजेक्शन, इस साइड में यहाँ पर आ जाएगा प्रोजेक्शन आपका. आपने एंगल फिर से लिया और आपकी जो वेक्टर है वो कुछ इस प्रकार से है. एक मिनट, दिस ब्लू ले रही थी मैं, जस्ट 1 सेकेंड. यहाँ से ले लिया मैंने, यहाँ से देखो ये वाला ना. तो ये अगर मेरा वेक्टर होगा, तो इसका जो प्रोजेक्शन होगा, तो आप देख रहे हो ये एंगल क्या था, दिस इज द एंगल. तो इसकी जो प्रोजेक्शन होगी वो किस डायरेक्शन पे होगी, दिस विल बी द प्रोजेक्शन. दिस इज द वेक्टर बी एंड दिस इज द प्रोजेक्शन, राइट. नाउ इफ यू हैव गॉट अनदर लाइन व्हिच इज दिस वे and I have got a vector which is to be represented in this direction, this is B. So which direction will I get the projection? The projection will be somewhere here. This is the projection, that is P, and this is the angle. Angle, how do you measure this angle? This will be either negative theta, or you can take which angle? You can also take this angle. What is this? 360 minus theta. So that means if I put it to the coordinate axis, it can be first, second, third, or fourth. Depending upon where your vector is, you can take the projections. Is it clear? Right? Depending upon the direction in which the vector is, original vector is projected, according to that, I can take the projections on the other vector. The angle is anywhere between 0 and 360. 0 and 360. Is it clear? Now, there is an important formula which generally children needs to put more efforts to remember it, and that is projection of B on vector A. What is the formula? You all told me. Come on. Bolo. D का modulus cos of theta into क्या रहेगा? A cap. Why A cap? Harsh, why A cap? Because I need to put the direction also. I need to put the direction, and as I said, it will always take the direction of which vector along which it is projected, right? But this formula, you can remember it very easily. But when you are given both vector A and B, you don't know the value of cos theta between them. There is another way of doing it. What you can do is, you can just multiply modulus of A to both sides and then see what happens. What is this modulus of A into modulus of B into cos theta? It is A dot B divided by mod of A into direction of A. Into the direction of A. Is it clear? This is the way also you can directly get the projections. When is this formula applied? जब आपको cos theta की वैल्यू नहीं पता है और क्या क्या पता है, आप जब को A और B दोनों पता है तो ये वाला फॉर्मूला आप लगा सकते हो. This is one of the important formula, and tell your brain, give a space to store this formula. Right? Done? Show that vector A is equal to 5i cap minus j cap minus k cap, and vector B, it is equal to I plus 3j cap minus 5k cap, and show that A plus B and A minus B are perpendicular to each other. Right? How do you prove it? तो पहले तो पता करो कि A plus B कितना है. What is A plus B? You all know. क्या आएगा? 6i plus 2j minus 8i, 8k cap. What is A minus B? 4i cap minus 4j cap plus 2k cap. Now call this as vector C and call this as vector D. Now you have to find out the dot product of vector C and D. Tell me what is the answer. C dot D is equal to 0. इसका मतलब क्या हो? Vector C is perpendicular. क्यों? मुझे यहाँ से साफ दिख रहा है कि C का modulus is not equal to 0 and D का modulus is also not equal to 0. इसका मतलब क्या बच गया मेरे पास? मेरे पास बच गया कि हमारे पास ये दोनों वेक्टर्स एक दूसरे के परपेंडिकुलर ही होने चाहिए और कुछ रास्ता नहीं हो सकता. ठीक है? नाउ projection of A is equal to 2i plus 3j plus 2k on vector B, which is equal to I plus 2j plus k. Projection निकालना है. Projection का फॉर्मूला क्या पता है मैंने? Projection of A on vector B. So what was the answer? मैंने बोला एंगल नहीं दिया दोनों के बीच में, तो क्या करते हैं? A dot B divided by modulus of B into क्या करेंगे? A cap. जल्दी निकालें. Projection of A on B है ना भैया? A on B तो A dot B B cos theta लगता है, तो A से डिवाइड करेंगे ना, तो चलो प्रोजेक्शन ऑफ A, हाँ यहाँ पर, ठीक है, जल्दी 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 फास्ट। निकालना पड़ेगा बेटा। Now the next is find mod of A minus B if A is equal to 2, the modulus of A is equal to 2, modulus of vector B that is equal to 3, and you have got A dot B that is equal to 4. How do I do this problem? I want to find out the modulus of A minus B. We all know A minus B ka whole square can also be written as A minus B the whole square, or it can be also written as A minus B dot product of A minus B. So what you have got here? Modulus of A ka square plus modulus of B ka square minus 2 times of A dot B. You know the modulus of A. You know the modulus of A. What is it? 2. 2 ka square, 4. B, 3. 3 ka square, 9. Minus 2 times of A dot B. That is 2 into 4. So what is the answer? 4 plus 9, which is equal to 13, minus 8, which is 5. So it is A minus B the whole square is 5. या फिर इसका mod है ना? So modulus of A minus B that is equal to कितना आएगा? √5. ठीक है? देख लीजिएगा. Now those who have already done it, kindly complete this exercise 10.2 and 10.3 in written right now without getting away from your desk. ठीक है? Complete this and show it to me tomorrow. Right? Thank you. I'm switching off the recording.